Hey class, I'm back, and you have now completed your first essay. And before you start writing for your second essay, I wanted to give you some things to look at before you submit that second essay. And these things are called the 7 essay killers. 7 essay killers? Cindy Ford, why wouldn't you tell us the 7 essay killers before we turned in our first essay? Well, because I'm evil. No, look, here's the reasoning. I wanted you to write the first essays the way that you write, the way you think essays should be written. Now that you've done that, you've got one under your belt. Going forward, these are the things you need to look for. The 7 things that will kill an essay. 7 essay killers. Ready? The first one's kind of the biggest one, and the hardest one to overcome, and it's called procrastination. I'll tell you about that a little later, maybe. No. Okay, procrastination is going to kill you. Look, waiting until the last night or 2 days before your essay is due to start working on your essay is a sure road to not getting the grade you want. As I suggested in previous videos, the pre-writing, how to do the pre-writing, how to get ready to write essays, those things have to happen, and either they happen over time or you try to smash them all into one night. If you do that, if you give yourself the least amount of time possible, you're going to feel just hugely pressured, and you're not going to do your best work. You know this is true, so I don't know why we always have a problem with procrastination. Look, think of the essay as your job. You're writing it. It's your job. It's got to be scheduled. Schedule some time. Put it in the books. This is when I'm going to work on it. Then again, this day, I'm going to work on it some more. This day, I'm going to work on it this some more. And then by this date, I'm going to have a finished draft ready to go. I'm telling you, I know it sounds anal, but you will love yourself more if you do not procrastinate on your essays. All right. Second essay killer. Weak thesis and weak main points of your essay. You need something strong. Your thesis has to be strong. Your thesis has to tell the reader what you are going to be writing about. If you're unsure about thesis and what thesis statements should be, please look it up on the internet. You should be knowing what that is by now. I think there also should be some things in your textbooks as well about what a strong thesis statement should be. If you don't have one, it makes the essay really hard to write, and you end up with kind of a wandering stream of conscious type essays that doesn't really have a main cohesive point. So in that brainstorming session that you do for your pre-writing, you really have to come up with what's your stance going to be. What's your thesis? What are you proving? What are you telling the audience? What's your point in writing the essay? You've got to have that, and if you don't, your essay is really going to suffer. Number 3, essay killer, flat opening paragraph. All right, look, here's an easy analogy for this. If you've seen the new Star Trek movie that was out this summer or last summer, I don't know, I've seen it so many times because I'm a nerd that I can't remember exactly when it came out, but you know which one I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen the new Star Trek movie, you should, because it's really good. Anyway, if you think about that opening scene of Star Trek, it is like bam, straight into the action. It's got you. It grabs you. This is your opening paragraph. You've got to grab that reader. You've got to make it interesting. You can't just say in your opening paragraph, well, today I'm going to write about how I feel about whether or not marijuana should be legalized. You've got to come up with something better than that. The opening paragraph has to be strong. You've got to grab that reader right off the bat. Come up with a question. Maybe you look up the definition of something that you're going to be pointing out in your essay. Maybe you come up with some type of analogy to begin your. There's got to be kind of a catch. There's got to be kind of a hook in that opening paragraph of your essay. It's got to be strong. It's got to be strong. First 5 minutes of the movie. Okay, it doesn't have to be wow bang, starships don't have to be blowing up, but something has to be going on in that opening paragraph to really draw you in. And of course, one of those things should be your very, very strong thesis statement. Okay. Essay killer number 4 is you got no flow. You have all read an essay before that doesn't have flow, and you probably just didn't realize it, but it seems very jumpy when you read it. So you're reading one paragraph, you get to the end, the next paragraph starts, and it's about something completely different. Look, this is going to happen in essays because you're covering a bunch of different points, but you really need to have some type of flow. What makes sense in your essay? What point leads into the next point? And how can you make it so it's not quite as jumpy when you're reading from paragraph to paragraph? This just increases your readability. So when you're reading it, hear that. Listen to it. Does my essay sound jumpy? Does it have flow? One of the best ways to do this, and you're going to hear me say it time and time and time again in the semester until you're so sick you don't want to hear it anymore, but here it goes. One of the best ways to review and proof your essay is to read it out loud. Or even better, have someone who doesn't know anything about what you're writing read it out loud for you. When you have someone else read it for you, you hear things that you might not hear when you're reading it out loud. I know it doesn't make sense, but you know, if you've been working on something for a long time, you're writing it, and you read it, you know what you're trying to say. You know what you were trying to type. So there might be an error in there that you might not catch because you've looked at it so many times you really just can't even see it anymore. So one of the best ways to proof an essay and to make sure that you've got some flow is to have someone else read it out loud for you. 5. Fifth member of the essay killers is language. What do I mean by this? It's remembering that you're writing an academic essay. I know it's really hard with all of the emails we write, with all the texting we do, with all the IMs we send. Those are our main modes of communication right now. I mean, the last time I had a real phone conversation, I can't even tell you. I IM and text my mother, for God's sake. But when you're writing an essay, it's got to be correct grammar. It's got to be more academic, professional language. Just consider your audience. I'm not your best buddy. And I'm not someone that you're IMing. I'm someone that you're writing an essay for a grade. So when you go back through, listen. Again, if someone's reading it out loud for you, you're reading it out loud. Listen to hear if your language sounds too casual. Does it sound like you're talking to someone over, a quick lunch? It's not the way you want your essay to sound. The language has to be more academic and professional. So when you go through that essay and read it out loud, check and make sure your language fits the essay and the audience you're writing for. The 6th member of the Essay Killer Club, the fade. What do I mean, the fade? This kind of goes back to one of the other points about having a strong opening paragraph. The fade is when you get to the end of your essay and you're so kind of tired of being in it and writing it that your conclusion just kind of peters out at the end. That's called the fade. It's really important to have bookends of a solid, strong introduction and a solid, strong conclusion to back it up. What do I mean by a solid, strong conclusion? You have to kind of revisit all the points you've made in your essay without being too redundant. It's not an easy thing to do. And it takes some time and some work. Just as much effort and work that you put into any of the other body paragraphs, that concluding paragraph really has to end the essay strong. So again, you don't want to have strong intro, strong body paragraphs, and then just kind of fade out at the end. You want to finish strong. Finish strong. Last member of the Essay Killers Club, obvious errors. And you know how I feel about this one. I probably should have made it number 1. Obvious errors will kill your grade. They just will, because it's all that someone is going to see when they're grading your essay. If they're reading it and your essay is great, it sounds great, it's got good flow, it's got all the stuff that's in there, but your spelling's off, your punctuation's off, your sentence structure isn't there, it's not going to matter how good of an essay you have if you've missed obvious errors before you turn it in. So again, aren't you tired of me saying it already? Have someone read it out loud for you. You read it out loud and then go back through it. One of the proofreading tips that I've learned in my job is to actually read things that I've written backwards. I know it sounds strange, but when you read it backwards, you catch things that you wouldn't catch reading it forward. And again, it falls on that whole, you're too familiar with the text by now. You've written the essay, you've been with the essay, you've been working on the essay for a long time, and so you see what you've been trying to put down on the paper, and even if there's an error in your own writing, you might not pick it up because you're just kind of too close to the work. So again, before you hit that submit button and send your essay in, do a proof, do another proof, and then do yourself a favor and do it one more time. It's going to save you valuable points on your essay. So these are the 7 essay killers. If you forgot them, you should rewatch this video again. They're very, very important. And if you really work on these 7 components or avoiding what these 7 components say, I guarantee you'll be on your way to a better essay grade. All right? Okay, take care. I'll see you soon.